everybody, I'm Tom Vassell, and welcome to 12 Games of Christmas here on the Dice Tower. This is a series, 10 different lists where we talk about games that we think that are good ones for you to purchase for people for Christmas, which is why we're starting to tell you about this stuff now. Always get ahead on these. We want to say thank you to our sponsor, Above Board TV. This is a YouTube where they do all sorts of comedy and board games. Not just comedy and board games, though, comedy and dungeon crawling games. They just recently started a series called Dungeon Call, starring Becca Scott. And you can see that with a diverse cast of different people, of actors, playing a live dungeon crawl, and of course, all their comedy with board games. They do some extreme stuff too, like with bees. Bees are scary, and who wants to play a game covered with bees? Well, you want to watch that. Click the link in the description below, and you'll be entered into a contest where one person who comments on that video was going to be a lucky winner and go and spend 3 days and 2 nights in LA with the Above Board team and record one of their videos. And 10 other winners are going to get a copy of a game of your choice, $50 or less, continental US, shipped to you from Amazon. So good luck, and check out Above Board TV. All right, today's list is kids' games. I have 7 children myself, and I have grandkids, and I just have the whole spectrum. So I know a lot about kids' games, and I know that finding good kids' games is a difficult thing to do. However, there's a lot of good ones out there, and here are 12 of them. Let's get started.
The first children's game on our list is one that has been quite popular in my family, and that is Doomlings. It's a couple years old, but they keep coming out with expansions and things. We just discovered it this year at Gen Con, and my 8-year-old daughter loves it. This is all about really, you have these Doomlings on the cards, and you're trying to play these traits or cards in your tableau and get as many points as you can before the end of the world. Of course, it's all tongue-in-cheek, but the artwork on here is adorable. The powers are very straightforward. You put things down, they're going to score differently, they're going to give you different abilities. And then also your hand size will change depending on the gene pool. So the gene pool will turn, so you have 5 card hand limits, 6, 7, 8. And then during the ages, you're going to have different rules for different rounds, and that adds a lot of variation to the game. So all of these things make it into a really enjoyable card game for adults, but that's not why my daughter loves it. She loves it because the game is fun, but these things are adorable, to the point to where she has asked for coloring pictures of Doomlings. This is like her #1 game of all time, and I think you should try it out. It's Doomlings.
Well, our next game is not one game. It's actually 4 games. I know I'm cheating. Chip Theory's Kids Game Series. Now, Chip Theory Games is known for heavier, in-depth strategy games, such as Cloudspire or Burn Cycle, or my particular favorite, Too Many Bones. Played at Underwater Sharks. Check out the channel. However, the publisher recently created Chip Theory Kids and has released the imprint's first 4 games all in one box. The first solo game titles each comes in large, thin tins and may be considered more puzzles than classic games. Each of the games uses well-made magnetic pieces which stick to the inside of the top lid over a puzzle sheet. You have Tanagram Adventures, which contains 50 puzzles to compete with classic Tanagrams. Pixel Party similarly uses chunky polynomino pieces, shapes to create interesting pictures. Sudoku Forest uses magnetic animal discs, which are placed in a grid using some logical Sudoku-style rules about what can go in each column and row. Now, the final one is Neighborhood Hide and Seek, which uses large, clear polynominos, still magnetic, with holes in them. Place each polynomino according to the rules seen through each hole. The 4 Chip Theory Kids titles each have great production value. That's what Chip Theory is known for. Functional magnetic pieces and a wide variety of puzzles with a large range of difficulty. One of my favorites for my kids. I only have one kid. One of my favorites for my kid, and maybe his friends, that would make them kids, Chip Theory Games, kids games.
Okay, so the next family game is Crossbows and Catapults. This, first of all, if you look at this game, you're going to be like, yeah, that's probably a good family game. And you're right, it is. Because you're shooting catapults at each other's castles and knocking them down. Sounds great, right? And there's also the crossbows where you can kind of pinch and shoot the disc around. But the thing about this is there's some strategy in aiming for their generals and their different soldiers. So, of course, the fun is actually shooting it and all that, but there is some strategy as far as like trying to get that soldier to fall over. And on top of that, the way these are built, they're not the old like rubber band type. They're very spring loaded. So it just feels really natural just to hit that and just launch those. So this feels really good. I never played the original one, like in the 80s or something, but I did play Catapult Kingdoms, but this is the one that I prefer. This is Crossbows and Catapults, and it is great. Really, really, I recommend giving this a try. I played with adults too, and everyone has a great time.
Flashback Lucy is sort of a Where's Waldo-esque game. Flashback Lucy is a game in which you are the titular character, Lucy, and you're going through and trying to figure out what's going on and going through kind of a creepy house. The way the game works is each card in this game, and it's a cooperative game, you're looking at shows you a perspective, but it will show you other numbers and show you a different perspective on the same scene, and you've got to kind of figure out what's happening. As the game progresses, you have more and more tools to figure out what's going on. So a bit of the supernatural weirdness in here, but sort of a kind of, let's talk this through, figure out from this picture, getting kids to talk through, hey, I think this is what's going on, with kind of a finale. This is a big story, Flashback Lucy, that kind of travels a bit through time, and I don't want to say much more because it will spoil it for you, but this is an excellent thing. It has different chapters that you'll play through, and when it's done, you can give the game to somebody else, and they can play through them too. That is Flashback Lucy.
Next up on our children's category, we're going to talk about a reprint of a game that has just recently become more available again. And this is going to be Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters. This game has been a huge hit in my family, and I'm so glad to see it getting out and more accessible again so that you can go buy it. And this is going to be a cooperative game in which you are going into a haunted castle, trying to scare off ghosts and ultimately collect treasures and get out safely. So you have a certain number of rounds to get this done. It's absolutely adorable with the little miniatures as you're picking up these gems too. It fits right into the backpack, so you're actually carrying it out on your miniature. Little thoughtful things like that just kind of really sells the theme. It's light gameplay, roll and move, you can teach to everybody, but your whole family is going to be involved. So this really sings with kids, but also as an adult, I don't mind playing it either. So if that interests you or interests your kids and your family, check out Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters.
Happy Hoppers is a silly little game where you're going to control some frogs. They're little square box frogs. You have 3 different sizes, a large, a small, and a medium, and you're trying to move them clockwise around the outside. But here's this catch of this game, is that the frogs will stack on top of each other. And so what this does is it's kind of like a typical roll and move game where you roll dice and move the hoppers around this circle. However, you are also going to be, if they land on someone else, when that person moves, they carry you along with them. So you have to decide which ones to move and what's the right place to move them to. There's a basic and advanced game, although both work just as well in different situations. They kind of have slightly different rules. But kids are going to be amused by this, especially when you have a whole stack of hoppers. It's hilarious fun when you move your guy 2, then your opponent moves 2 on top of someone else, and then that opponent moves 2, and you've just got to move 6, and there's nothing they can do about it. So it adds a little bit of that, which one am I going to move first? I might move my small one first on top of my medium and then carry myself on top of somebody else. Some little choices to that, and also a fun little production with all these little square cubicular frogs moving around the circle. That's Happy Hoppers.
For a kids game that you could play with, obviously younger ones, but also with a group of adults as well, and to have just as much laughter and fun, check out Haunted House. This is Boxtop Pinball Haunted House is the official name of it. You have a box, and then in it are smaller boxes. You set them up as a little ramp, and you're trying to flick some dice down there. The dice show numbers 1, 2, or 3. That's how many points you'll get if you keep them on the machine or prevent them from dropping down holes in the boxes. But also there's like multiplier zones and monsters you can try to hit, like the little bumper faces and stuff off a pinball machine. This represents that fun pretty well. There's more expensive games like tumbling dice, and this one is like a version of that that's much more affordable, and it's a little bit softer of a box. You got to be careful with it, but for something that you can pull out at home and have fun with your kids or with other guests, check out a silly, rollicking fun time with Boxtop Pinball Haunted House from Pandasaurus Games.
Next up on our children's game here is going to be Similo. Similo is a cooperative Guess Who style game. There's going to be some pictures out on the table, and you're trying to get everyone else to guess a picture that was picked at the beginning of the round here. You're doing that by playing out other pictures and say it's either like this one or not like this one. Where the fun comes in, though, is just in the versatility of this game. So there's a lot of different decks. If you have somebody that loves animals, then there's an animal deck, or maybe they like more IPs, Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, Lord of the Rings. There's lots of IPs. There's a lot of just general themes. You also have like a fairy tale deck or a Greek mythology deck. So there's something for everyone in it, and you can even mix these. So maybe I want to give you, have you guess a Harry Potter character, but give the clues in dinosaurs. You can do that. Something for everybody, easy to play, and leads to a lot of fun moments and just connectivity. So check out Similo.
Next up on the list for children's games is Spotlight. So this takes all the elements that I loved as a kid of Where's Waldo and just makes them so much more replayable. Plus it adds that cool light effect where the board is actually dark that you're looking at, and you use the flashlight to be able to see only specific areas. I think this is a super fun kids game. I like it as an adult. My daughter likes it as a kid. What a fun, cool activity and a game. Like, it's not just an activity anymore. They've gamified it in such a fun way. So that is Spotlight.
All right, when it comes to children's games, games you can play with your kids or kids can play together, I love Ticket to Ride My First Journey. Now, it takes all the fun elements of Ticket to Ride, running the routes, the neat little plastic trains, and then it makes it just a little easier for younger kids to play. So if you've been wanting to get your kids into something like regular Ticket to Ride, this is a great way to do that. It introduces all the mechanics, all the ideas of what to do in this type of game without being overboard. Plus, the art is fantastic. It's really cute art. They did a great job with this. So that is Ticket to Ride My First Journey.
Next up on our children's games list is the game Stickers, and this is themed around the idea of wanting to collect cards and get those super rare and legendary cards. What I love about this, though, is that it's a legacy game that does add those cool legacy unlocks and reveals at the end of each game, but it doesn't do it in a heavy rules-changing overloading system. So I feel like this is very approachable for kids. They don't get overbogged down with the rules, but instead they have fun little things they get to do between each game to make it interesting, to kind of make it change, but it's not too much for them. And honestly, this might be one of those legacy games that we actually play after we're done with the scenarios, because the game itself is so clean and so welcoming. And even though we've added changes to it legacy-wise, it's not too much, and I really appreciate that. So there you go. If you're interested in a kid's legacy game, Stickers is a great choice.
Our final game today is Unlock Stories from the Past. Now, the Unlock series of games is a great game that uses an app and that people work together, sort of a escape room style game. But Unlock Stories from the Past is a very different thing for kids. And in this game, when you buy one of these boxes, and this is just one of several of these boxes that you can get, there are 6 different adventures that take place in 3 different universes. I think there is back in the time of Egypt, Western, and prehistory with dinosaurs. And you will pick one of the 6 ones. It doesn't matter really what order you do. And it's going to give you some cards. It's going to give you some tokens. And you are going to put those cards and tokens together to walk your way through this adventure. Along the way, you might find hidden numbers. And there's even some bonuses, like achievements, that you can find that will give you extra stars as you finish your journey. So after you finish and go through the scenario, your child may go, let's do that again because we did not get a 100% completion rate on it. But they're fun, they're logical. This key token will fit with this door lock token, things like that. But sometimes they offer some interesting surprises, and there's a bit of history involved in these. These are some of the best escape room style games for kids that I have ever seen, and there are 6 per box. They are replayable. You can give them to someone else. And even though the original Unlock adventures need an app, the kids' ones do not. No electronic devices needed. You are simply just putting things together and using deduction to walk yourself through a sort of a mini adventure that comes with a full board story. They are a lot of fun, and I cannot really recommend these enough. So that's, in this specific one, I'm talking about Unlock Stories from the Past, but any of the Unlock Kids games are great. And that's it, folks. Thanks so much for watching another one of our 12 Games of Christmas. Remember, we have 9 other videos, strategy games, thematic games, family games, and more. We tried to pick games that are available online right now or pre-order from their website. We looked at different online gaming stores. You know, that this stuff does change from day to day, but hopefully you can find at least some of these to buy for your family or for other families, great kids games. Thanks so much for watching the 12 Games of Christmas. Thanks to our sponsors, Above Board TV. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you, and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.